To all who come to this happy place, welcome.
What is it about Disney that makes us happy? Is it the magical whistle as your ticket is scanned at the main gate? Is it the seafaring smell of pirate water? Or is it charting a course to a land where you may never grow up? Whether it's singing a familiar song, watching a movie, or riding your favorite attraction for the 100th time, Disney undeniably has a way to warm our hearts, believe in magic, and bring joy into our lives. This is Main Gate Magic, a podcast where we break down and discuss the infectious happiness, delight, and thrill of all things Disney. Hello, listeners and viewers. It is another wonderful Tuesday evening on Main Gate Magic. I am your host, Jason Braden, and I have my co-hosts, Mr. Thomas and Miss Leia. Hey, say hey, everybody.
Hi.
How y'all doing tonight?
Fantastic.
Very,
How are you?
Very well rested.
Well rested. That's good. And I am good. Thank you for asking. I appreciate that. I meant to mention on the last episode where we had Bill Morrison on. If you guys didn't catch last week's episode on Tuesday, we had Mr. Bill Morrison, who is I would call him kind of a legendary Disney artist, who was responsible for a lot of cover art for the Disney videos that came out in the day, like back in the 80s and 90s.
Right.
He was also the one that had the controversial Little Mermaid one, and we did talk about that. And he cleared up the air and said that basically he was like, under a tight deadline and was a zombie, and that wasn't noticed until later on. And but anyway, if you guys missed it and you want to know the deal with it, you can catch that episode. It's on YouTube and Facebook
fantastic.
right now.
Yeah,
it was awesome. But I meant to mention that was already our 10th episode for this year. We're only in March.
Wow.
And this is episode 11, and we are going to be celebrating the 30-year anniversary of the Indiana Jones Adventure Ride at Disneyland. It was formerly known as Indiana Jones and the Temple of the Forbidden Eye, and then I think they eventually just kind of condensed it down into the Indiana Jones Adventure, which kind of makes more sense. But first, before we start talking about all that stuff, let's talk to our audience. We've got Patricia in the house, number one fan.
Patricia.
She says, hey, everyone. Hi, Patricia. And then our other number one fan, I'm not going to say the second, but the other number one fan, my father, Mr. Odie Braden. He says, howdy from your old man. Fortune and glory, kid. Fortune and glory. Very well said, Dad. Now, Leia, you haven't seen the second Indiana Jones, right? The Temple of Doom?
Oh, is that a quote from it?
Yes, it is.
Okay, I'm on my way. I haven't seen that one since I was like 7 years old, so it's been a hot minute.
Yeah, it's when Indy goes to India, not by choice. He just kind of lands there on accident. We'll call it an accident. And he ends up, helping out this village. And he's got his little pal Short Round with him. And he agrees to help them at first because it's for fortune and glory to find the missing Shankara stones. So,
fun. Yeah, I'm actually going to watch it this week. Like, I'm hooked on the movies. I'm like, oh, these are so good. I forgot.
I love them. Now, one thing that I am going to say, I'm going to sort of preempt our show with a little bit of information. We are going to be talking about and doing trivia for those who are looking forward to answering some questions later on the first, second, and third movie. I don't really like the fourth and the fifth one. That would be the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull and what was it called? The Dial of Destiny.
Mm-hmm.
I was not a huge fan of either of those, so I figured we could just kind of keep it old school and just go with the first three movies instead. I hope you guys are okay with that. Yeah. All right, cool. Not a lot of people watching today. I mean, like, how can you not want to watch stuff about Indiana Jones? I don't quite understand that, but you know what? Maybe everybody can listen to it instead later on, which is fine. No problem. But first things first, let's go ahead and get into some news.
Yay.
It's time for Main Gate Magic News.
I actually redid that a little bit. I had it on a loop. happens sometimes. Ah! Sorry, we are having some technical difficulties here at Main Gate Magic. Please stand by.
Keeps us young.
Okay. Yeah. I had to redo it a little bit because I realized that when the older audio clip, it said you could hear Main Gate Magic, but the news was kind of muffled, so I redid it and enunciated better, and I think it sounds better. So anyway, I digress. Okay. We're going to start with a little bit of audio, or not audio. Oh, boy. You know what? Last week was a busy week. I'm still recouping. Let's just chalk it up to that. Little
okay.
Disneyland news. We got some current ride closures. There's been some stuff that's reopened. The monorail is back up and running, and so
I'm
is
so
the
excited
Disneyland
about
Railroad.
that.
Yeah, I know. Me too. Now, I saw, thanks to Fresh Baked Disney, I think they still have more walls up in the area where the Mickey Floral is, and
Yes.
I don't know if it's because they're redesigning it maybe for the 70th. Do you think that might be why it's
It's
down?
partly for the 70th and partly for part of the new Avengers Campus stuff. So.
Oh, but at Disneyland?
Oh, the Disneyland side. Sorry, there's also
Yeah.
a floral section on the DCA side.
Oh, okay.
For that, I know it is. Yeah, it's for the 70th. Mm-hmm.
Okay, makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. And we will talk about the 70th anniversary in just a moment. But first, ride closures currently at Disneyland. This is as of today, March 18th, 2025. Pixie Hollow, still closed. It's a Small World, still closed. Disney Gallery, still closed. This has been pretty much the running theme since January. The Disneyland Story presenting Great Moments with Mr. Lincoln, still closed. The Jolly Holiday Bakery still got the facade up and everything. And oddly enough, the Indiana Jones Adventure is closed currently as well. So I don't know why or how long it's down for. We know that it does go down quite a bit for refurbishment and, a little sprucing up here and there. So maybe they're just kind of bringing it up to date before... or I don't know. I thought it was kind of weird. Maybe it's just a temporary thing. Thomas, do you know anything about it? Have you seen anything over there at Disneyland?
I don't at the moment. I know that there's a lot of just like closures for a lot of things for the 70th at the moment. Yeah.
Okay.
Just
right.
There's some of it's in my announcements that I'm going to share for news, but I'm kind of like assuming it's for that.
Okay. All right. And then at California Adventure, the one that has been closed for quite a while that has been reopened recently is the Grizzly River Run that is now reopened. And if you guys actually want to go to a cool YouTube channel, LMG Vids, Chris is the gentleman that runs that, and he is an amazing photographer and videographer, and he actually did a video of the reopening of the rides. So if you guys want to see what that's all about, go to LMG Vids, LMG VIDS on YouTube. You'll be able to see it there. But what's currently closed right now is the Collector's Warehouse, which I think has something to do with the Guardians of the Galaxy, right? Is that the shop that's outside of it?
Yes.
Okay. And then, of course, Guardians of the Galaxy Mission Breakout is closed as well. And I think we touched on this lightly, that it was going to be closing in March, and that is obviously due to the expansion of the Avengers campus.
Mm-hmm.
So, there's only one other piece that I wanted to kind of talk about and actually show. So for those who are listening, you're probably not going to be able to get much out of this, but you can go to the video after the show is done and watch it later. That's the cool thing. So we're about, 9 minutes and 55 seconds in, and you'll be able to see the video that I'm about to show. Let me see if I can actually pull it up and do it the right way here. Give me 1 second. After the
Jason, as you're pulling that up, LMG Vids, that's who we interviewed last fall, right?
Yes. That's
yeah,
Chris.
he was so fun.
Before. Yeah, definitely. Alrighty, so here is the video. And this is basically just something that has been kind of floating around on different channels. This one that I'm pulling it up right now is from Theme Park Insider, another very popular theme park, I would say, website and also YouTube channel. They do a lot of video, not video, but they do a lot of videos for theme parks around the world, not just Disney stuff.
Yeah.
But this one is, and I'm just going to keep the volume down, but this one is basically it's like a 3D rendered image or video of how they're going to do the loading section for the Monsters Inc. ride that's opening in Florida at some point. I know that they've applied for patents, and for those who are just listening, it's basically like a double loading station. You get inside of these seats that your feet dangle from. The seats rotate around to the front, it lifts up, and you're inside this big scare factory from Monsters Inc.
Oh,
And
that
then
sounds
it
fun.
raises, yeah, and then it raises you up, and then the roller coaster continues in through the other parts of the warehouse where the adventure begins.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Those look like that. It looks like the seats are mimicking the doors that go in through that one slot.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. That is exactly the whole point. Because
Yes.
I think everybody had always been saying, like, oh, there should be a Monsters Inc. ride where we can actually do the warehouse thing where Mike and Sully and Boo are, like chasing Randall and everything like that.
Yeah.
And
Fun.
yeah, that would be a really great concept, and they finally did it, and it looks pretty innovative. I mean, there's a lot of things you can do with technology nowadays, and I've seen all sorts of crazy rides out there, and I'm glad they're thinking outside the box on this one. It's going to be pretty cool.
So you said that's only in Florida, not California?
Yeah.
Ah.
Yeah,
Okay.
Florida has been getting some really good like faster rides, like as far as like appealing to lots of age groups. So it's not just like kind of like not just going through a story, but an actual roller coaster or coaster-ish, more rides like that. So
yeah.
I love
Now,
that.
California Adventures does have, as a reminder for those who have never been, they do have a Monsters Inc. ride there already, but it's just a dark ride called Mike and Sully to the Rescue, and it's just a dark ride where you enter like this little Monstropolis taxi, and it takes you through the story of Monsters Inc. very, very quickly. But
Yeah.
it does have like a little warehouse area where you can actually see all the doors and stuff like that. It's got some fun effects. It's a neat ride. It's a lot of fun. Patricia says that looks fun. Yeah, it does look fun.
Yeah,
And
that's-
Roz might say something slightly inappropriate to you at the end if you catch her eye. They have Roz say some different phrases.
Yeah, Roz. Yeah, she's like, "Hey, you in the backpack, I'm watching you," or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
She's always got something snarky
That's
to
my
say. And
favorite
sometimes it
character.
matches up.
Yeah.
Sometimes it matches up with people in the vehicle. I don't know how. I think it's pre-recorded, but they do a pretty good job of matching it to the
That was
people that
good,
are in the
Jason.
car.
She called me like the cute guy in the middle row. It's time to get out or something like that.
Always
I'm
watching.
watching you. All right, Thomas, why don't you go ahead and tell the folks what they can expect with the upcoming 70th anniversary of Disneyland.
Yeah, so as you guys know, last year we celebrated Disney's 100th, which is the 100th anniversary of the company. But this year we're celebrating the 70th anniversary of Disneyland, like Jason said. I'm actually really excited about this. But first, I'm going to show a picture of the new outfits coming for House of Mouse characters.
Oh, that is so cool.
Oh, those are so colorful and pretty.
Unfortunately, Horace didn't make the cut, but they're kind of like trying to ship Clarabelle with Goofy, or like, are they together? Or are they not? So that's why Horace is missing.
Love on the rocks. Ain't no big surprise.
So then, yeah, I am also really excited because we actually are going to get some new overlays for rides, which usually just happens for Haunted Mansion and Space Mountain. But we're getting a new overlay for Toy Story Midway Mania and It's a Small World.
What?
So yeah, they're gonna, I guess, they're doing those rides. That's really nice because you don't have to like tear apart a ride just to make it feel fresh. You can do an overlay, which I really like that Disney's doing that. Paint the Night Parade.
Wait, really quick, Leia, you and I have to give like a Scuttle and Ariel. Ooh, ready? 1, 2, 3. Ooh.
Oh.
I guess that makes me Sebastian.
Yeah.
Overlay.
Your dad wants to see you. I'm just kidding. Okay. There's also Paint the Night Parade is coming back. That's been a popular favorite.
Yeah.
And the castle. There's a Wondrous Journeys nighttime show that's coming to the castle. I think that's actually been there before. There's also a Celebrate Happy Cavalcade. Join Mickey Mouse and his pals in their new outfits that I just mentioned. And then, oh, Miguel and Dante from Coco will now be featured in It's a Small World.
Oh,
I
cool.
love that
Yes, more
movie.
characters.
Yeah, and then World of Color is thankfully getting a brand new show. So like, if you've been to Disneyland or Disney California Adventure, you kind of notice like similar World of Color shows, but this is a brand new one called World of Color Happiness Nighttime Show, and it's going to be centered around Walt Disney's words, "To all who come to this happy place, welcome." So just kind of like lots of color, lots of Pixar characters, a lot of Inside Out, especially, and just your classic favorites like Elsa, Ursula, that kind of stuff. So
Fantastic.
that's all I have for that. But yeah, it's the anniversary is July 17th. So as that gets closer, just keep an eye out on changes around the parks.
July, dang it.
And I have a question for people like me who just don't know as much about the parks. What is an overlay for those of us who don't exactly know?
Go, Thomas.
Okay, so basically they changed the general like overlay of the ride. So like for Haunted Mansion, for example, it's Nightmare Before Christmas themed. Like they retheme it to kind of like a different movie or a different vibe. So
okay.
Jason more to expand on that. Yeah.
Yep. And even Space Mountain every once in a while gets an overlay where it's the same ride. Even Haunted Mansion is the same ride. It's the same track layout, the same physical experience, I guess, if you will. But then it's just given extra effects sometimes, projections or different props, something like that to make it a little bit different.
Fun. I kind of was thinking that was what it was, but just want to make sure.
Yeah. And then like Pixar Pier used to be Paradise Pier. Paradise Pier was more themed to like California, but now it's rethemed to Pixar. So the Incredicoaster used to be like a Mickey roller coaster, but now that it's the Incredicoaster, it's just like tunnels. It's the same ride, but like tunnels were added and incredible sounds, sound effects, and voices. So.
And that is a fun ride, the Incredicoaster. Even when it was California Screamin', I still loved it. But now they've got the tunnels inside and everything, and they've got the special effects on the inside. Even the last tunnel has cookie smell that I really love. You got to wait till you get to that last tunnel for the cookie smell.
It's awesome.
Yeah. Alrighty. Now, let's give everybody what they came for. All one viewer for today. It's okay. It's okay. We'll go ahead and get to it. So we're going to go ahead and okay, before you all get to the spot where we start talking about the ride and the movies and stuff like that, I have something that I want you to do. For you listeners, Leia, even Thomas, I need you guys to close your eyes. Okay? If you're indie fans, close your eyes. I want total silence while we listen to the following. Okay, that's our show. I'm going to go watch the movies now. Bye.
It's so good. It makes you excited and feel heroic.
Doesn't it, though? I know. It's like, and so for those of you who are not aware, the composer that actually made that is called John Williams. He's a genius at making music and has done so for a lot of Lucasfilm movies and also, of course, Steven Spielberg.
He is God level.
Yes.
Of music.
I mean, there are up here, and then there's way up here, and I think he's even above that. So
good pantheon.
Would love to meet him someday and just have a chit chat about all his stuff. And just one of the most iconic orchestrated theme songs I think ever in human history. In my opinion.
Yeah.
So that is just called the Raiders March. That is actually the song that plays at the end of Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark. That is the very first movie. But we are here to talk about, first of all, the ride. And the reason that we're doing this show is because The Indiana Jones Adventure ride, as I mentioned earlier, has just celebrated its 30th anniversary. So I remember going to the park when I think it was only just a few days old. And this was one of the most innovative rides I'd ever been on before in my life. And that's saying a lot because I go to a lot of theme parks and I have a lot of fun at those kind of places. And every place that I traveled to, if I was doing it for work, I'd be going to a theme park and comparing what they do versus what Disney does, right? Because that's what you do.
Yeah.
So a little fun facts about the ride. It opened on March 4th, 1995. Yes, I'm that old. Celebrated 30 years recently with John Rhys Davis. He's the guy who played Sala from the Indiana Jones franchise. Now, Sala is Indy's probably best bud, or one of his best buds. And he can be seen here, who did a sort of reenactment of the pre-show video that you get to see, where he's actually telling you how to fasten your seatbelts once you get to the vehicle and everything. And this image here that I took is actually captured from a video done by Fresh Baked Disney. David, who was the owner of Fresh Baked, got to sit in the row right behind him while they rode the ride.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so if you guys get a chance to go on Fresh Baked Disney on YouTube, take a look at the video. It's a lot of fun. And he was a great sport about everything. They got to go on the ride, and he was just playing around with one of the cast member flashlights when they were checking the seat.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
By the way,
so
a fun fact, when I watched the movie, I'm like, oh my goodness, that's Gimli from Lord of the Rings.
It is Gimli from Lord of the Rings, absolutely. 100%.
He's such a versatile actor.
He was at the GalaxyCon convention that I went to last year in, I think it was October. But I never got a chance to go over to see him. I was like already running out of money, and I could like, you know, peek over the crowds and kind of get a visual. But
awesome.
I didn't stand in line because I would have only talked to him, and most people were there to buy autographs and stuff like that. So I'm just like, maybe some other time. So
yeah.
Let's see. What does this say? Patricia also on. Oh, that's right. He was on that show called Sliders. I don't know if you guys ever saw that. I think it was a sci-fi show. Something about like time travel or something like that, where they go through these portals or something like that. That's what I remember, and I think I did follow it for a short while, but not for very long.
Cool.
I never finished that. Yeah, it was kind of a neat show for its time. So the Indiana Jones ride was actually like, because you're wondering, like, you know, how do they build all this stuff on top of a place that already has a very small amount of real estate to expand into? Well, they put it in a parking lot, and it was basically part of the Eeyore parking lot, where you literally would park originally right in front of the park, and then you would take the tram from there to the main entrance, because it was still quite a walk and there were people that kind of needed some assistance. And there is actually a little bit of an Easter egg. So like I said, when Sala here, Mr. John Rhys Davies, was doing the thing, he also has his little spiel that he gives you. Like I said, here's a little picture of him giving the seatbelt instruction for the pre-show. Now, if you are looking at this video while you're in line for the Indiana Jones Adventure and you turn around and you look at the film projector that is shining this onto the screen, you will see a little Easter egg. And if you see the screen that I got up right now, there is a little picture of Eeyore just to the left and behind of the film reels, the reel-to-reel projector, and that is a leftover image of the Eeyore sign from the parking lot. So
that is fantastic.
Yeah. So I had heard about that, and I was chatting with some friends today, and they're like, "Hey, don't forget about Eeyore." And I'm like, "What is it about Eeyore again? I don't remember." And they had to remind me. So
I'm guessing Joshua has this in his Disney book.
He must.
Yeah, he
Wouldn't
must.
you think?
I would think,
Fun
yeah.
Facts. He's got to. I gotta hit him up. Josh, if you are watching this, I don't think you are. There's like still only one person, but that's okay.
Thank you, Patricia.
I need to get him back on the show again, because that was he's just a lot of fun, and it's got lots of neat fun facts. So that's one little fun fact about the line queue. And I'm just going to go over a few more recent facts, or not just recent facts, but just some stuff that I found on Wiki. It describes it as an enhanced motion vehicle dark ride. It's nothing like you guys have been on before, unless you've been to Florida, because they have a ride very similar to that. In fact, I think it's the same track layout, but it was called Dinosaur. And I say it was called Dinosaur because I believe that is now closed, and they are changing it over to Indiana Jones. So Florida is getting its own version of the Indiana Jones adventure. So I don't know when it's opening, but they've got to change a lot of scenery, animatronics, audio, visual effects, everything like that. I would guess it's probably going to take a good year or so to get that done. And it premiered, like I said earlier at the beginning of the show, as the Temple of the Forbidden Eye. The reason why they call that is because the temple is called the Temple of the Forbidden Eye when you walk in through the main entrance of the ride queue. And it's a forbidden eye because if you gaze into the eyes of Mara, who is the deity inside of the temple, then disaster and everything befalls you. That's the story, basically.
Yeah.
So that's the concept of the ride. It's very fast paced. It gives you the feel of being pushed along very fast when you're really not going that fast at all. I want to say the top speed is like maybe 15, 20 miles an hour. It's not very fast at all.
So it's kind of like an illusion?
Kind of, because the vehicle tires, they are on like kind of like a linear path, right? But the vehicle area that you sit in, excuse me, pardon me, is articulated with like, what do you call them? Pistons, I think, and pneumatic pistons everywhere, and it makes the vehicle tilt left and right and backwards and forwards. So when it moves forward, it'll tilt the area that you're sitting in up a little bit to make it feel like you're, going faster.
Yeah.
And when you're going around curves, it'll tilt it to the right or the left to make it feel like it's a really sharp turn left or right, but it's really not that sharp. It just kind of gives you the illusion of it, and that's the thrill of the ride. It makes it feel more adventurous than it really is if it was just like sitting on a flat track and you're just riding around like this,
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. There is also a version at Tokyo Disney Sea, but that one is now called the Temple of the Crystal Skull after the movie that I said I was not going to talk about, but it is part of my little fun facts here. And I also mentioned that it is coming to the Animal Kingdom. The original one that opened up at Disneyland in 1995 was originally sponsored by AT&T, and they actually had their logo around it everywhere. And they even had little sayings that were, kind of spattered throughout in these little sort of like cryptic letters here and there that they gave out these cards to everybody that you could use to decipher this secret language throughout the ride queue. Now that language is still there, but I think some of it has been changed to get rid of the AT&T theme. And that is just one of the things that I'm talking about to go into all the crazy stuff that you can find in the ride queue. And I'm going to show you guys a picture of that little card. It's right here. So they handed these out by the dozens, by the hundreds, probably by the thousands. I don't know how long it was before they stopped giving them away, but you can tell that they, highlighted the vowels in red, and you would just, while you were waiting in line, just kind of be like, okay, well, that's an A, that's a G, that's a E, and stuff like that, and formulate all these words to make full sentences. And basically what it says now, it's like danger, beware, do not go further, blah, 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 blah. And these, I don't think it's rare to find them in paper anymore. I'm sure somebody's probably got a stack of them that they have from back in the day, but most people just look online now if they want to find out what the sayings are all about.
Yeah.
So that is kind of scattered all about. And then, let's see, what else do I got here? This is inside. So there's just two parts to the queue, right? There's the outside area where you kind of go through the jungle, and then there's the inside where you start entering the temple. Now, the outside area has a little fun fact. So this vehicle right here, this truck, you may recognize from Raiders of the Lost Ark. This is the vehicle that Indy was fighting the Nazis on, and subsequently was pushed out the front window grabbed onto the front grill and then fell down underneath the truck
Right.
and sort of like wiggled his way using his whip to get to the back of the car and then get back to the driver again, right? It was like one of the most famous stunt scenes ever for its time, and as far as I know, it's still really highly regarded. Well, that truck can also be seen in the outside line queue of the Indiana Jones Adventure, and there's a picture of it right there.
Oh,
So-
that's is that the literal truck from the film?
It is the actual truck from the film. Yeah.
Oh,
That's
wow,
awesome.
learn something new every day. I didn't know that.
Yeah. It's a little known. Well, actually, it's one of the more well-known facts I think of this ride.
Okay.
Most people I think are kind of aware of it, but you know, I know that there's a lot that probably don't look into this kind of stuff like I do because I'm a nerd. But when I see that kind of stuff, and when I've seen the movie that many times and I look at it, I'm like, wait, is that?
Yeah.
That's the truck, So
That is so
it was.
cool.
Yeah, for those who have seen the movie like a million bajillion times like me and can probably quote every line, it's a pretty easy find. Now, I saw something on the internet that said something that there is also the mine cart, one of the mine carts from the Temple of Doom is there. And it's supposed to be where the exit queue is, like as you're walking out from the inside queue to the outside queue, there's supposed to be a mine cart there. I could not find any pictures of it. I even scrolled through a few videos. I couldn't find it. Maybe they had it and they removed it. But I don't know. If anybody's listening and they want to post something on our channel to say, hey, I found it, I would love to see it because I've never really heard about that. I just kind of saw it online today when I was doing my research for the show. But some other things that are awesome that are also in the queue, and as you wind your way through the temple, you go through caves, you go through these areas where there's all this cryptograph writing. You even go through this tunnel where you can hear bats flying around, and there's guano everywhere, and a little gross. But you also get to this little area right here, which is another takeaway from the Temple of Doom. Now, if you guys can see the screen, you can see spikes kind of like coming down out of the ceiling.
Yeah.
And even on the left-hand side, there's some skulls stuck on those spikes, and that is from the Temple of Doom, where Indy and Shorty are kind of stuck in a room like this, and Willie has got to try to free them.
Mhm.
And if you can see, kind of up near, like, I would say it's almost halfway in the middle of the screen, there's a bamboo pole.
Oh,
It
yeah.
almost looks like it's holding up the ceiling that has the spikes coming down from the top, right?
Yeah.
Well, that bamboo pole is a bit controversial because if you're walking through the line and the ceiling is up, you can actually shake that pole and it'll make a really loud noise and the spikes will start coming down from the ceiling
What?
while you're walking through the ride. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
It's a
Yeah.
really, really high ceiling, and I have to tell you, I mean, nothing's going to hit you. Obviously, I'm
Yeah.
sure they're all safe and everything, but I have not seen that effect work in years. I
Yeah.
just don't know if it's ever going to come back. And as a matter of fact, the last time that I went, the last few times that I went on, and I'm even including from last year, that pole is not even there anymore. Which is a real shame because it makes things kind of interactive and fun for people. But
I wonder
It
if
does.
somebody took it too far and there was somebody who was like 7 feet tall walking behind them or something. There was a boo-boo.
I don't even think that's 7 feet tall. That room has got to be at least 9 to 10 feet high.
Okay.
But the crazy thing is that the line rarely gets this far back because they hold everybody outside of the ride. And then they sort of start letting them in waves, and you mostly like just walk past this. You're very rarely ever just standing in this room
Yeah.
waiting for the line to move.
Okay.
So I think a lot of people, they just run up and they grab it and they shake it, and my guess is that they just eventually just like it kept breaking because of how rough people were with it and everything, and they're just like, nah, we're just gonna shut it down.
Yeah.
So. That's
Shame.
just my guess. Yeah, I know. I don't know for a fact, but again, if Josh was here, we might be able to find out. All right, so further down the line queue, because this is like one of the most interactive queues or one of the most interesting queues in the park, I think. And we even talked about this on one of our episodes where we were supposed to have a special guest on. I think it was Isaac Singleton Jr., and he wasn't able to make it on that show, so we ended up talking about different queues throughout the park, and we talked about this one at length because it's got so many neat things in it. If you go down a little bit further, there's this well. It looks like a water well, but it's boarded up and it's got these little bamboo things on it in the picture that you see there, and there's a sign that says caution, do not pull the rope, hanging fragile artifacts. And you can hear the voice of a man downstairs or not downstairs, but down into the well that is supposedly hanging from this rope.
Yeah.
And if you give the rope a yank, you hear the man going like, "Hey, knock it off up there," and all these other phrases and stuff like that. And it resets after a while, and I think he's got like maybe 2 or 3 different phrases that he says. And eventually, if you pull it at some point, I think you can actually hear him falling.
Oh my god.
Now that one, for the most part, has always worked, and it's just another one of the. It's one of the only 2 interactive things in the ride queue.
Yeah.
But now it's like the only one that's working. So
Yeah.
Jason, Thomas, you both love voiceover. How fun would that be to be a voice in a Disney park? Just one of those little voices like that guy. Hey, knock it off. That'd be such an honor.
I would
be
definitely
so
milk
cool.
that. Yeah.
Like, hey, did you hear that? That guy down the well? That's me.
Screaming and
what?
falling.
Yeah, exactly. How did you get that role? I yelled.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Even further down the queue, as you go past the pre-show area, which is up here where I had the video of Sala telling you guys how you're going to board your vehicles, how you're going to put your seatbelts on, where you put your valuables so they don't shake loose out of the car and they have to stop the entire ride. When you get past that, there is a little room that Indiana Jones has an office, and inside of that office there is a Life magazine, and there is a little hidden Mickey Mouse and Minnie Mouse on the Life magazine. So it's one, I think, of the only hidden Mickeys technically, at least in the ride queue. There might be a hidden Mickey somewhere else in the ride. I know of one other technical hidden Mickey, but it's just a hidden Mickey ears.
Yeah.
And it's from this little guy right here.
Oh my goodness.
And it's just a skeleton in one of the areas on the ride. You can see he's kind of painted with glowing colors because that's where they shine the black light and the skeletons glow and everything. But the skeletons kind of like pop out at you from the wall. And this particular man has the ears, but if you can see, they're actually backwards, because even though it's hard to see the name on there, it does actually say the name Jones
See
on
that?
the back of the hat, which is where they put the name for the hats when they embroider them when you go and get it as a souvenir. So
Yeah.
little fun fact, if you guys are like on the truck and you're zipping around and you want to look for the Mickey ears, that's what it looks like.
Yeah.
Let's see. So, that is the only other hidden Mickey I think that's actually on the ride itself. At least that's what I could find online. And also in Indy's office, the walls are made up of different crates. And one of the crates, as part of the wall, has this on it that says "Delivered to Club Obi-Wan."
That's kind of a nod to George Lucas being the creator of.
Definitely.
And
But
Harrison Ford. Yeah.
yeah, so Thomas, you've seen the Temple of Doom?
Yeah.
Do you know what Club Obi-Wan is? Do you remember what Club Obi-Wan is? Do either of you know what Club Obi-Wan is?
No,
it's
no idea.
It's been a while.
So Club Obi-Wan is the very beginning of the Temple of Doom, where Indy is actually doing a trade deal with a couple of shady characters, like almost like Chinese mafia or something like that, where he's trading the ashes of one of their ancestors in this little tiny jar for a really big, beautiful diamond.
Right.
And at the very end, when he is escaping with Willie, because she's got the antidote to the poison that he just drank, they're jumping out the window and down these little awnings and stuff like that down to the car where Short Round is, and outside you do see a sign that says Club Obi-Wan. It's definitely a
that's fantastic.
fun little Easter egg from that movie, and of course also on the ride itself.
Mhm.
And then last but not least, as you're leaving the ride, This one is kind of a throwback to, I think, the AT&T sponsorship that they had when the ride first opened. They've changed the sign a little bit because the AT&T sign is not there, but they kept the words because real rewards await those who choose wisely. In the beginning of the Indy ride, there's technically 3 doors you could go through. It's like the fortune, the future, and destiny or something like that, right?
Yeah.
And every time you go through which one of the doors, there's like a different, every time you go inside the next room, there's like a projection that kind of shows things differently inside the room based on the door that you go in through.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why you have to choose wisely, right? Well, choosing wisely is another throwback to the Last Crusade, where Indy, yeah, exactly, at the very end of the movie when he's trying to choose the Holy Grail, the right Holy Grail that gives everlasting life, he has to choose the right one because if you don't, then you die, as we all saw in the movie. So
you have chosen wisely.
Wisely, exactly. I just love after the guy drinks the wrong one, and he like pretty much disintegrates into ash before everybody's eyes, and he's all, he chose poorly. Like, yeah, thanks a lot, Captain Obvious.
You're sure he did? I'm not sure.
Yeah, right, exactly. So anyway, I think that's all I got for the slideshow here, but that was all of the visual presentations for the ride itself. It's a really, really great ride. It's fun to wait in line because you get to see all these amazing things, and it's just a lot of fun. If you guys are ever at the park, definitely make it one of your go-to things. So before we get into trivia, pardon me, I wanted to ask you guys, sort of do a round table. Of the movies you have seen, what is your favorite movie? And what is your favorite quote from any movie? It doesn't even have to be from your favorite movie, just your favorite quote from the Indiana Jones stories. Leia, you want to kick it off? Do you think you can pull one out, even though you just recently rewatched them?
Yes. And you know what? This is a genuine answer because it takes me back to childhood and I still loved it. Because I never forgot it. The Last Crusade. I love that movie. I just like the father-son relationship. I think it's so relatable when you just don't connect to your parent, but then just you can bond to them if you just both are on the same level through healing.
Yes.
I just thought this was so applicable to real life when she gives him this beautiful goblet, and he has such a materialistic, obsessed mind. He's like, oh yes, the most beautiful goblet. Of course, this is the one. But Indy, who's more down to earth, he's like, he was a carpenter and he makes the most simple looking goblet. And I just loved that, how applicable that is to real life.
Yep. It's like made out of stone, and the funny thing is about the movie though is like it was kind of made out of stone, but it also looked like it was painted gold on the inside or something like that.
It did, yeah.
Like it was holy, but yeah, you're right. He just chose the most plain looking goblet there, and he says that's the cup of a carpenter. And
and I felt like having a pure heart. It doesn't have to be this extravagant thing. When you have a pure heart, the beauty isn't outward; it's inward. And
and he knew, I mean, even though, and he, at the very end when he's doing all the trials and everything to get to the room where all the chalices were, he had to go and use his father's Grail diary to, pass all of the traps, right?
Yeah.
And he's talking about like only the penitent man will pass. He's only got these clues, right? And he's like penitent. What does a penitent man do? And all the people that have walked through that first one are getting their heads chopped off from walking down this little breezeway, right?
Yeah, and they kneel.
And he keeps saying the word penitent. Penitent man is humble, kneels before God. Kneel! So he does a kneel, and then he does a roll, puts the rope on there, and he's like, I'm clear!
Yes, and I thought the faith one was so cool, how like it's like the stone, he just has to look, and there the path is.
Yeah, the leap of faith. That's where you have to kind of just like trust that something's there for you to step onto. But That one wasn't as believable as the other ones, I think, but it was because I mean, you look at it and it's a cool effect on screen and everything like that. But
in
I was
real
like,
life, yeah.
So, Thomas, what about you? What's your favorite movie, favorite quote?
So I think my favorite movie would be Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. I did actually grow up on the Last Crusade one. We had the VHS and I just watched it over and over. But I think I like the presence of Short Round a lot, so I just have to say Temple of Doom. But I did like Sean. I liked that Sean Connery was in the Last Crusade. I liked that he was there and just their father-son relationship.
Yes.
I think the quote I like is from a Short Round. He's like, "Hey, Dr. Jones, no time for love. We got company." That's how I feel. That's how I feel. I feel like I'm always the third wheel with my friends who are like falling in love. I'm like,
oh,
hey, no time for love. We got company.
Yes. Well, so I'm going to clarify that for those who have not seen the movie. That's remember I made the comment that Indy and Willie had jumped out the window, went down these little awnings, and into the car where Short Round is driving with these big blocks on his feet because he can't reach the pedals. And Indy is trying to fish out the antidote from Willie's outfit, and she's wearing this beautiful nightgown because she's she's the singer of the club. And she's like, "Oh, I'm not that kind of girl." And that's when Shorty makes the comment, "Hey, Dr. Jones, no time for love. We got company." And then, of course, everybody starts shooting at them. And Willie, like after Indy gets the antidote, says, "Ooh, I hope you choke." He's about ready to die, and she's saying, "I hope you choke." Just so many good lines from that one. Yeah. Now mine, I think Raiders of the Lost Ark has to be my favorite, but I'm torn. Okay, look, I'm going to tell you my favorite line from the Indiana Jones franchise, but then I'm going to tell you my favorite scene from the Indiana Jones franchise, which also has a pretty good line with it as well. My favorite line is when Indy and Marion are on the boat, and they're heading out to the island where the Nazis are bringing the Ark, right? And Indy's sore. He's tired because he's been beat up. He's been dragged under a car. And this is like the first chance that he's had to rest. And, him and Marion are kind of catching up and everything like that. And Marion makes a comment like, I think we're just getting too old for stuff like this. And Indy makes a comment, "It's not the age, sweetheart, or not the years, honey, it's the mileage." So it's not how old you are, but it's like how much you've actually done in your life that makes it like ow, ooh. And I'm only speaking to that because, it's true. The older that you get, the more aches, the pains you start feeling and everything like that. But I'm still young up here, but my body, forget about it. So that's one
a good one, Jason.
Quotes. Now, my favorite scene, which also has a really great line in it, and it's in The Last Crusade. And you guys were talking about Henry Jones, Indy's father. They're in the little motorcycle with the sidecar, and they just defeated the Nazis on the motorcycle. They escaped the castle. Yeah. And they stop, and they're having an argument about which direction they should go. Go get Marcus,
that part.
Or go get the Grail Diary, which is with, the Nazis and everything. And he's like, "You want to march into the lion's den?" And he's like, Indy's father is like, "That's where we have to go because that's where my Grail Diary is. We can't do this without the Grail Diary." And Indy's finally had it. He's talking about his dad and his friend Marcus, who are pretty much the same age, I think. And he says, "Two selfless martyrs. Jesus Christ." And then his father slaps him hard across the face. And he says, "That's for blasphemy." Now, he didn't say anything about calling him a martyr, but he slaps him for using the Lord's name in vain. Yeah. And I just thought that was amazing. It's like, Henry knows who he is. Yeah. But you don't take the Lord's name in vain in front of me because that's against the rules. I just thought that was like, it was a great, great scene. So anyway, that was my favorites. All right, with the last 10 minutes that we got of the show, guys, it is time to do some trivia, and we got somebody who kind of introduces us into the trivia nowadays. And let's see, where do I have it? Where do I have it? Did I not upload it? Oh my gosh, I didn't upload it. Holy crap! Give me a second. I know. So here, you know what? I'm going to put up the first question, and I did put them in banners. And we're going to go ahead and do the first one. Now, we've only got, we got 5 other people. Okay, everybody put your name in the chat and tell me who's watching and say hello. Because dang it, there's only 2 of you that have said hello. Here, yeah. Say hello, everybody.
Who wishes they had an Australian bullwhip, or wherever it's from? That would be so cool.
Yeah, although...
Was it not Australian?
One of the trivia questions that I have, no, not really necessarily Australian. I mean, it might be. I don't know. But there is a trivia question related to the whip a little bit later. Patricia's still here. Thank you, Patricia. But there's like 4 other people. Dad, are you still on? I think Andrew and Jerry said they might come on after they had a Zoom call. Maybe they're running late. I don't know. But if you're on, say hello and get ready to answer some trivia. So the first question is, what is Indiana Jones's real name? Do either one of you know the answer to this?
I think I do. I just learned it.
I don't.
Okay. No? Okay. We'll give everybody a few moments here to answer this. My sister-in-law's in. She says hello. Hello, Leanne. Hello. It's good to see you. Thanks for popping in and say hello. Patricia. She got it. Henry Jones Jr. That is absolutely correct. Now, I would have also accepted that he actually does have a middle name, and I didn't know this. Maybe it's in books or something like that, but his middle name, which would have been like bonus points if he got it, is Walton. So it's Dr. Henry Walton Jones Jr. That is absolutely crazy. So, but yeah, good job, Patricia. You got the first one right. You get an Indiana Jones cookie. Okay, let's see. Next question. Where did the name Indiana come from? Hands if you know. Leia, you know it?
I do. Zip.
Okay.
No.
Thomas?
No, I don't.
No? Okay. All right. Let's see. Oh, my dad says, my quote, don't call me Junior.
Oh, that's great.
Because Indy's father always called him Junior every time that he was talking to him, and I just loved that. It was amazing.
Yep.
Let's see. Okay, now while we're waiting for people to answer, I'm going to see if I can't load this this clip that I got. I don't even know if I saved it. I kid you not, guys. I spent like probably a good 3 hours preparing for this show today because I was so excited to talk about some of my favorite movies of all time. And of course, trying to talk while I'm, looking for a file is not the easiest thing to do, but we'll figure it out eventually. Okay, Patricia, that is very clever.
You got it.
For those who are listening only, Patricia responded with a little dog emoji, and that is absolutely correct. Odie got it too. He says his dog's name was Indiana. So yeah, Henry Jones Jr. did not like his name, and he didn't like being called Junior, so he eventually took over the name of the family dog. I've got a lot of fond memories of that dog, he said.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's definitely the correct answer. Okay, all right. Next question. In the beginning of Raiders, this is the last Raiders of the Lost Ark question I think I have. What is the name of the fictional tribe that chases Indy through the jungle? And they did actually mention the name of this tribe a couple of times in the very beginning. It's like within the first 15 minutes of the movie, maybe.
I think I know the letter it starts with. Like, I could guess, but it's probably not going to be correct.
No? What do you think the first letter is?
G?
No.
No.
No. Thomas?
I don't know. I feel really bad. I was supposed to brush up on this, but it's fine with
dude. You gotta go and start watching indie movies now so we can all be up on the same page.
I do.
All right, so for those who are just listening again, in the beginning of Raiders, what is the name of the fictional tribe that chases Indy? And yes, I know it is a fictional tribe because I looked it up. It was made up for the movie. It's not a real indigenous tribe in the world anywhere, at least not as far as we know anyway.
They like their blow darts.
They do like their blow darts, and the bad guy, when he told them to chase Indy, he did this like thing with his hand.
Yeah.
And that's when they start running for him, and he chases them and everything. So, all right, nobody's answering, so I'm going to give you the answer. It is called the Jovitos. Jovitos, yes. And Indy says, "Yep." There, Dad puts the answer in there, of course, right as I say it. The Jovitos.
Oh, way to go, Woody!
Yeah,
sounds
Indy
like
gives.
Sounds like a chip, like a Doritos, but
Yeah, it does.
Flaming hot Jovitos.
Hey, you want some Jovitos?
Cool Ranch Jovitos.
With some salsa and guacamole.
Right. So I think that the country that they're in is in Peru, and when Indy is handing Belloc, the bad guy in Raiders of the Lost Ark, he says, "Too bad the Jovitos don't know you the way I do, Belloc." And he's like, "Yeah, you could warn them if only you spoke Jovitos." So I think they mentioned it twice there, and then also once at the very beginning, before Indy even gets into the cave with the boulder. They find a poisonous dart stuck in a tree, and one of the guys says, "Jovitos are near. Poison is still fresh. 3 days. They're following us." So, yeah. Yes, I'm showing my nerdyism by knowing all the damn lines of the movie. Okay, next trivia question. All right. Let's see. What is the name of the chamber? Oh, no, this is another Raiders of the Lost Ark question. What is the name of the chamber where the Lost Ark resides? There is a specific room in Egypt that it exists, but the Nazis can't find it because they were always digging in the wrong place. So what is the name of the room that they put it in to bury it? There was a specific name. It's 3 words. I'll give you a hint. It's 3 words. Na, 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 na. I'm guessing neither one of you know this one. This was a little bit more on the harder level.
Yeah, no, I don't.
No, just.
And I'll tell you that this is mentioned a couple of times in the movie, but the first time it's mentioned is when Indy is talking to the gentleman from the FBI at the college. Okay. And he's giving the description of where the Ark was hidden, and he's like, and the Hebrews buried it in a chamber called the blank, blank, blank. And it's the blank of blank. Blank of blank. I'm going to give you a hint. I'll give you the middle word. It's something of something. Blank of blank. Does that help at all?
I literally just watched it. No.
I know the scene you're talking about. I'm just,
okay.
It's not coming to me.
No worries. Man, I'm stumping everybody tonight. It is called the Well of Souls. Is the
Well
word in.
The Well of Souls.
And they hid it in a chamber
cool
called
name.
The Well of Souls. Yep. Yeah, and the myth goes, if you take the thing at a certain point, at a certain height and a certain time of day, a beam shows. Yeah, okay. So,
okay.
Next question. All right, what do we got here? In the Temple of Doom, Thomas, you better be able to answer this. What do they serve for dessert at the palace? At the Maharaja's palace, what did they serve for dessert? Now, they serve all sorts
Wasn't it?
nasty stuff.
I think I know what it is. It's a certain body. It's a certain body part.
Yeah, kind of ish.
Okay.
Not
Don't they
human
serve
body
monkey
part.
brains at one point? It's like
That is exactly right. You got it.
Oh, wait, is that for dessert?
Yes.
Oh, see, when I was little, I thought that was so disgusting because their head was like, oh, okay. Sorry, I didn't mean to give that away. I didn't think that'd be the dessert.
No, it's okay. I mean, we're already at the end of our hour, so we kind of got to wrap this up soon anyway. But yeah, the big guy's like, dessert. And then he lifts the little cap off the skull, and he's like, chilled monkey brains. Like, oh. And that's when Lily passes out, and then it goes to their chambers. Yeah. So.
Hey, Jason and Thomas, and anybody listening, can I give a little trivia? I know Jason will get it right away. But
Yeah.
okay. What does Indiana throw the Nazi out of? And they fly away in
The Last Crusade.
The Last Crusade, thank you.
In The Last Crusade. So he throws a Nazi out the window as
What
it flies
kind of
away.
flying vehicle?
Right. Very easy. That's a good one.
Yeah, thanks.
Oh, and Patricia, sorry, Patricia, I didn't see your guess. Something with the sun. I watched the first 3 on VHS so many times. What's VHS? What is that? That's like
what is
like
that?
reel thing. But it's been a while. Yeah, it was that's what the well of that, now that was the map room where he does the staff with the
beam.
the staff of Ra, and then the Ra is the god of sun, and then the sun shined through the little gem that was in it, and it showed where the Well of Souls was. Oh, Patricia's got it. It was a blimp.
You're amazing, Patricia.
Absolutely right. We would have also accepted a Zeppelin or even possibly a dirigible. Those are all other names for blimps.
Ooh.
Very steampunk.
Yeah. Gorge, you learn something new every day. And that's the audio clip that I don't
love that. Gorge.
That's gonna be our trivia from now on. It's gonna be Mr. Goofy. It's because every time we learn something new. Gorge, you learn something new every day. Okay, that's enough Goofy. Okay, next one. We got a couple more to go here before we wrap things up. Let's see. What do we leave off at? Temple of Doom. What do they serve for? Okay, so this one might be a little bit tough because it happens so quick and you don't really see him that much. And I just kind of gave away a hymn. You know it's a hymn. But what former Saturday Night Live star had a cameo appearance in the Temple of Doom? Now, this takes place in the very beginning of the movie. It is a man, a comedian who is a man from Saturday Night Live, and it's not a current comedian, obviously, because you have to realize the movie was done back in 1984, I believe. So it would have been a Saturday Night Live character from back in the day. So let's see. Let's go back to the comments here. What does Dad say here? We'll introduce you to our new stepsister tomorrow night. Oh, Dad just got a new dog, so that's my stepsister that he's going to introduce me to. But I'm guessing we're going to do a video call, so that will be fun. I look forward to it, Dad. All right, so what former Saturday Night Live star had a cameo appearance in the Temple of Doom? I don't see any guesses in the chat. Do you guys know the answer to this one?
No, I was gonna guess, but I feel like he's too famous for that, so no.
This one's a pretty famous Saturday Night Live star, but you can go
ahead
and guess. Yeah, I guess. Couldn't hurt.
Bill Murray or Martin Short?
No.
Okay.
And no.
I was gonna guess Jim Carrey, but I don't know if he was in Saturday Night Live. So.
No, that's too 84 is too soon for Jim Carrey.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. Yeah.
Yeah. So the answer is actually yes. Did you look it up?
What?
Did you look it up?
No, I promise. I have nothing.
Oh.
I just looked. I love Dan Aykroyd.
Right, yeah. So Dan Aykroyd is in the very beginning of the movie when Indy, Willie, and Short Round are escaping from Lao She. They go to the airport, and he's the guy that's saying, "I was able to secure you, a plane with 3 seats, but you will be riding on a cargo ship full of live poultry." So he's the guy that says that line, basically. I think he said his name was Earl Weber is the name of his character. So, yeah, he's the one that appeared, and it's for like maybe 5-second scene, but it is him, and you can hear it in his voice. And when you look at him, you can see he's got like a mustache, and he's wearing kind of like khaki clothes and stuff like that, and a hat. So, not a lot of people know that he was actually in that, but it's a fun little fact.
Very cool.
All right, jumping over to The Last Crusade. Indy is afraid of snakes, and we're going to have a really hard bonus question on this a little bit later, which I don't even know. No, I didn't include it. Never mind. Forget I said that. Indy is afraid of snakes, but what is Henry Jones Sr. afraid of?
I know.
Dad. You know that one?
I know. Yes.
Yep. Thomas, you know that one?
No, I don't. I feel really bad, so I don't.
Anybody in the chat know what that is? And this is actually something that is in The Last Crusade as well. I think it's mentioned maybe twice. I think, maybe.
Definitely
no,
once.
just once. Just once. Yeah. And it was kind of subtle too. I thought it was very subtle, but the look on Henry's face when Indy says there was this kind of animal, he's like, there was.
Yes.
This happened in the what was it, in Venice, right? When Indy
Yep.
and the female doctor, I forget who, she was like the one that was the Nazi undercover, basically.
Yeah.
Yep.
They're in the catacombs, right? And they're looking for the crest, the inscription of the knight's shield and everything, and they had to do a rubbing to get the clue that led them to the next place.
Yep.
And there's these animals in there that
Tons of
Indy's
them.
fine with, tons of them that Indy is
Yep.
okay with, but when Indy
Oh,
told his dad, "Oh, do you got it, Thomas?"
well, I have a guess, but I don't know if it's right.
I mean, think of sewers. Think of tons of them. What's your guess?
Well, I was originally gonna say scorpions, but when you said sewers, I was gonna say rats. But yeah.
Yes, it is rats.
Ding, ding, ding.
He's like, I would have loved to see it. He's like, there were rats, Dad. He's like, rats? He's like, yeah, tons of them. Oh,
Literally.
Odie says spiders. Nope, no spiders. No cockroaches either, Dad. No, sorry.
Oh, I would cry if it was cockroaches. Oof.
Oh, that would have been gross. But they did bugs in the Temple of Doom, so they probably needed to get a different kind of critter in for what was supposed to probably had been the last of the trilogy of movies. That's why they called it it's not the only reason why they called it the Last Crusade. But I had thought, okay, this is going to be it. No more Indy after this.
Yeah.
Fun question, guys. What would be your snake? Like, if there was a room full of this one critter or like nasty thing, what would you just weep about?
Oh, geez.
I know mine.
Snakes? What would I weep about? It'd have to be rattlesnakes.
Oh, that'd be scary.
Yeah, rattlesnakes. Anything that can like shoot you in the eye with its poison or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Mine
maybe
is
like a
very
cobra or
specific.
something.
Mine
Oh,
would
yeah?
be Japanese wasps.
Oh, well, yeah.
Oh, you're
Oh my-
saying not specifically snakes, but just like any, like, what's your fear creature?
Yeah, like something crittery.
Oh.
Oh, for me, it's wasps,
Oh.
hornets, but especially Japanese ones. They're like this big, like size of your palm.
Odie says, nah, snakes are cool. He's like the anti-Indy, he's not afraid of snakes. But that doesn't surprise me because we used to have a garage full of them when I was growing up. He had like a bunch of glass terrariums that had a bunch of snakes in it, and we even had a rosy boa in the back of our house in the little kind of like covered patio that we had and everything. Dad, if you're still listening,
Oh,
you know
that's
exactly what I'm
cool.
talking about. The snake's name was Zot, and he was an escape artist. He used to get out all the time, and we fed him live mice.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, lots of fun. Okay, so second to last question. Going on Last Crusade again. Who does Indy get to autograph the Grail Diary for him?
Got it.
Got it?
Yeah.
It's a very, very, very famous figure, but not very popular famous figure. Patricia says the bug scene in part 2 plays out if we leave the outside lights on at night during the summer. I just wanted to open the front door. Yeah, I know. Totally. Yeah, the bugs. Blah. When it's just one or two, no problem. But if it's a bunch of them in a room like that, yeah, I'd probably freak the hell out too. But yeah, keep the lights on. Let them scatter. Pakistani sand boa. I thought it was a rosy boa. I thought that's what you guys told me, but maybe that's what he's saying is his fear animal. I don't know. So anybody in the chat? No guesses on who signs Indy's? Well, it's not Indy's Grail Diary. It's Henry's Grail Diary. He's got a mustache, a really tiny little mustache. Rosie Bow was in the garage. Okay, I got it wrong. That was still a damn big snake, at least for me at the time. I remember one time it got stuck inside of one of our screen doors. There was like this metal barrier that had like a piece of sheet metal here, piece of sheet metal here. Stupid thing got inside of the door and got curled all up right in that spot. We were looking around the house for hours and couldn't find it. Yeah. All right, so Leia, answer.
Hitler.
Hitler is
I was gonna
Mein
guess that
Kampf.
too.
Yeah. Yeah, it was pretty hilarious too, because Hitler's walking around, Indy got the Grail diary and stops right in front of the path of Hitler as he's walking.
Yeah.
Of course, Indy's dressed like a soldier, so he hands him the book because Hitler was already signing autographs.
Yeah.
And he ends up signing the Grail diary. So yeah.
Crazy.
All right. Final question: how did Indy get the scar on his chin? And this was actually in The Last Crusade as well. It was in the very, very beginning of the movie when they were showing a very young Indiana Jones. It showed how he became scared of snakes because they were on a circus train and he fell into like a giant pit of snakes and they were covering him.
Yeah.
And he even had them in his clothes after he got out of it and were fighting the bad guys I think it was with a cross of Coronado he was escaping with. So do either one of you remember?
I do remember that scene. I'm just wondering. I mean, I don't think it's from a snake bite, but
No, not a snake bite.
okay.
I will tell you that it is self-inflicted.
Okay.
No, I don't remember.
Nobody does it to him but himself. But what does he do it with? Don't remember. All right. Well, I'm just going to go ahead and tell you. It's his bullwhip.
Oh, bullwhip.
So he falls into a car that has like a lion in it. And of course, the lion tamer, what do they have? A chair and, as Patricia says, a whip. Absolutely.
Hey.
So he gets the whip and he starts whipping it, but he does it too close to his face and it leaves a scar right across his chin.
Wow.
Oh, okay.
I've learned so much about the movie that
I know, right? Now,
Yeah, this is fun.
Fun fact, and we're going to close on this. Harrison Ford, that is a real scar on his chin. You can see it in every film he does, basically. But he got it from a car accident in 1964, and when he crashed, he hit his chin on the steering wheel, and that's what gave him that scar.
Wow.
Whoa.
So, final fun fact of the night is for Raiders of the Lost Ark. There is a theory out there that I've heard many, many times, and if you think about it, it's true. But if Indy did not go looking for the Lost Ark when he was, told by the FBI that they want him to go after it and get it to acquire it and stuff like that, everything in the movie would have happened exactly the way it did.
Yeah.
Have you heard about this?
I have from the Big Bang Theory show. Yeah.
Yep. Exactly. Like, Indy didn't even need to be a character in the movie because the Nazis would have had the headpiece to the Staff of Ra. They would have had the map room already. They would have found the Well of Souls. They would have got the Ark. They would have gone to the island to do the ritual. They would have done the ritual, and then they would have all died. Indy didn't need to be in the movie.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
All of the stuff that he did was just kind of consequential to everything that was already happening. So, I know, right? Doesn't that blow your mind?
He's like entertainment junk food because he's like a thrill to watch.
Yeah, totally. So, but it's still a great movie. It's a great show, great plot and everything like that. But somebody like thought about this and decided to destroy everybody's mind with that fact. And I'm like, wait, no, but he went. Wait, no. Damn it!
I'm gonna watch it now, finish it with that mindset.
Oh, Dad says 1964 was a great year. Graduated high school. So, yeah, maybe he was in high school when that happened. Who knows? I don't know. Actually, he would have been a little bit older, I think. He would have been a little bit older. Indy. Or not Indy, but Harrison Ford. All right, folks. Well, that is it for this particular episode. Thanks, everybody, for watching and hanging in there with all the fun Indiana Jones facts. It's been a hoot. Leia and Thomas, thank you guys for being on as usual. Hope you had a good time, too.
Thank you.
Yes.
Oh, a blast. Yep.
Very sobering,
Awesome.
very, very eye-opening, and I need to go watch all the films. Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, same here.
I'm doing my best to inspire you to go out and watch more indie. But you do not need to watch Kingdom of the Crystal Skull or the Dial of Destiny because they suck. No, sorry. Positive show. Bad host. All right, guys. Next week, I am hoping we will have a special guest on the show. I don't know who it's going to be yet, but I have my feelers out there. It's either going to be Peter Pan or Donald Duck. That's all I can tell you. I'm hoping it's Peter Pan because he says, yes, I'm still interested, but I'm trying to see if he's actually available on Tuesday itself. So we will definitely find out more this week, and I'll put out the event on our Facebook page probably near the end of this week. So, Patricia says, what fourth and fifth movie? Thank you, Patricia. That's right. I just pretend they don't even exist. Exactly. All right. Have a good night, everybody. Thanks for being a part of our show again, and we will see you all next Tuesday. Take care, and bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.